Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review, and this one is going to be a very weird one to babble about because I have a really interesting, at least to me, story about Volbeat, and I will be babbling about their new album God of Angels Trust here in just a minute. But I had a friend of mine that I worked with like years, 15-20 years ago, and he kind of is the one that turned me on to this band. I had heard about, the guitar player from Anthrax. I can't even think of his name off the top of my head now. Had left Anthrax to join these guys full time, and I don't think he's with them anymore. I can't even think of his name. It's driving me nuts. See, I'm never prepared. Ever am I prepared for these things. So if you know who I'm talking about, feel free to comment down below to remind me. I'm sure I'll remember as soon as I get done recording this, but that's just the way it goes for me. But anyway, so I used to listen to their albums. They had several out at the time when I finally discovered them. Went and got them. I do what I normally do: buy everything, listen to all of them, and I actually was really impressed. The singing style. Michael Poulsen, he's got a very strange combination. It reminded me of Danzig at first. I like Danzig, kind of just the singing style anyway. But they had this weird combination of like metal and like rockabilly, and it was a weird combination of stuff. At least that's what I got out of it. And metal, like heavy, like metal, even almost thrash it sometimes. But his very unique singing style over top of it, and very melodic, very catchy melodies. And I just really thought that was a cool, unique band. So I really got into these guys. So to get into the weird part of the story for me, I write music. I've done that my whole life. I've been in several bands where I've written and we've recorded. I've had stuff out on the radio, and it's here and there. And every now and then I like to put one out of my own. And I'd put one out. I can't remember the year now. This is going back about 6 years ago. And I remember, maybe it was 5 years ago, I remember releasing it on like New Year's Day. It was just a cool little thing to do. And then a few months later, half a year or more later goes by, and I hear a song. I got their new album, and I'm listening to it, and the song Last Day Under the Sun kicks in, and I'm like, wow, that sounds familiar. I'm like, that guitar riff is exactly the same as the song I just did not too long ago here. So I remember I was picking my son up from one of his friend's house. I had it queued up for that song, and I just to see if maybe I was, imagining things. And he gets in the car, and I push play, and it starts singing. Obviously, it's not anything that sounds like me. And my son's like, "What the heck is that? Who's that singing your song?" And I'm like, "Yep, all right, I wasn't wrong." So it's been one of those things. I never did anything about it. And, it's like, you ever try to pursue anything with, copyright or anything, you might as well just forget it. And the song, that song was like a huge major hit or anything. So never really did anything with it. But from that point on, I was just always kind of annoyed with these guys, because I'd never know for sure if they really did it, or it just has to be a coincidence. Who knows? But it was just, the timing was really strange. And ever since then, it's been, every time I listen to something, I'm like, man, these guys, every time I hear that song, it just bothers me. So I got this album, I'm like, all right, I'll try to just enjoy it. And I did. This album's good. But I'll tell you, the whole time I'm listening to it, I'm like, all right, who are they stealing this from now? And I have that in the back of my head. So that's a whole personal little thing I got going on with these guys. And quite honestly, there's several times throughout this album where not the most original riffs. This is the furthest I think they've gotten from how they started to date. First 4 songs kick in, cool, metal rockers, but it really doesn't sound anything like Volbeat of past. Maybe the last album a little bit, because they've been kind of gradually going this direction. But man, if you put on one of the first couple Volbeat albums and compared it with these 4 songs, other than the vocals, you wouldn't even know it was them. Even though the riffs are cool. I think the opening riff to By a Monster's Hand was pretty cool, but it sounds like a lot of other metal bands. It's almost like I hear a lot of Metallica and Megadeth influence in this, and even like Slayer at one point in time. and just a lot of thrash influence in here, like late 80s, early 90s type thrash type stuff. So I mean, that's not a bad thing. I love that music. But the first 4 songs in particular just have that overall feel to it. It isn't until track 5, which has one of the most interesting song titles I've ever heard, In the Barn of the Goat Giving Birth to Satan's Spawn in a Dying World of Doom, that they have any of that rockabilly thing going on at all. And I thought that was pretty cool. I actually really like that song. And then it goes back to, the newer sounding, everything's really, actually one of the best songs on that I didn't want to bypass, Acid Rain. Super catchy, but very heavy at the same time. That one definitely had a unique twist to it. Didn't sound a whole lot like anything they've done before, but that one actually, I really enjoyed that song. And then Time Will Heal also was a good song, more rocker. Then they kind of tap into their punk, rockabilly roots again one more time on Better to Be Fueled Than Tamed. The cool thing that in the middle of the song, you hear this Slayer-ish, thrashy type riff in the middle of it, just out of nowhere, and then it goes back into the end of the song. I thought that was a cool, mixture of how to do things. The other kind of more unique thing I heard them try on this album was in Lonely Fields, which just the guitar sound itself is just a really cool, moody little thing they tried there. It's kind of hard. It's a kind of an effect that they used on it, but they made it as part of the song, which I thought was a little unique thing they tried to do. However, the song itself wasn't anything spectacular, unfortunately. It wasn't bad or anything, but it didn't live up to the uniqueness of the guitar part, at least for me. So that one kind of had like mixed emotions about it, and then it just ends on a Enlightening the Disorder by a Monster's Hand Part 2 was the name of that one, which is just probably the weakest song on the album, quite honestly, but it still has that. It's the sequel to By Monster's Hand, obviously, of course, but it just sound more. It was a fun sounding song, I guess. It had a good energy to it. The song itself, nothing super special on it, but overall it was an enjoyable listen. It's one thing I actually liked about this album was it was a little bit shorter than the rest. Sometimes their albums tend to go on like a little bit too long, at least for me. This one was a little bit more focused. The songwriting is a little bit more focused, although it's like I said, it veered furthest away from anything I think they've ever done up to this point. So other than those two songs that have a little bit more of the sound like that we're used to hearing from these guys, but other than that, I thought it was a pretty decent album. Even though my personal wonderment aside of what really happened with that song, this was actually a pretty decent album. It's actually one that I'll probably put on and listen to fairly recent, or fairly often I should say. Makes me actually want to check out that other album again and maybe listen to some of the older stuff. And that's always cool when an album can do that. So I guess I'll just keep my wondering on how that my personal involvement with anything with these guys, however you want to word it, happened. But anyway, feel free to comment as always. What do you guys think of this album? What do you guys think of Volbeat? Do you think they've changed too much in their sound, or do you think it's cool when bands try all kinds of different stuff? I mean, I do like when bands try different stuff, don't get me wrong, but this one just has gotten a long ways away from their original type sound. But other than that, I liked it, and as always, like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because I definitely want to keep hearing what these guys are doing. They're a cool band, so until they do that, and I probably will review that one as well. We will see you.